Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome in to a brand new episode of Snaps. And this is hopefully one of your favorite college football podcasts. Aaron, you're looking very good this morning.
Thank
Look at
you.
that
Thank you.
shirt you have on. How about
Yeah, it's by this company called Snaps. So
how about that? Very funny.
yeah, we get the Snap show, Snap shirt, maybe Snaps coin coming down the line. Just the whole Snaps everything.
Okay. No, let's not rope any potential advertisers into our scams again. Snaps coin is a scam, and we will be doing a rug pull. So just know that, guys. Now, but if you're one of our friends, we'll give you the inside info first, right? So you can get in on it. Maybe you can be a part of the rug pull with us. In all seriousness, Snaps Clothing, shout out to them. Wink, wink. We should have some news coming pretty soon here over the next couple of weeks. I think it looks very sharp. I'm a big fan myself. I've got a few pieces at home, and I think it makes all the sense in the world for Snaps Clothing and Snaps, the college football show, to be working together. So again, more on that in the future. You look sharp, though. I wear that one all the time. I wear it to church underneath my dad's sweater.
Nice.
So we got a great show planned for you today. We are going to discuss an article that was on ESPN, kind of asking the question of who are going to be the next college football head coaches to take home a national championship. As look, obviously, right now it's kind of funny, man. You got Kirby, Dabo, and Ryan Day, and that's it. So you got a lot of candidates, right? Who's close, who's farther, et cetera, et cetera. I want to get to Kirby Smart saying Johnny Manziel's a champion of Fireball. Maybe or maybe not at the end or nearer to the end. We'll get to, I don't know when I'm going to do it, but Brooks Austin crashing out on the anti-Mike Bobo crowd is really funny to me. And so many Georgia fans that might be maybe we'll go there at some point. I'm very upset with Nebraska, and it has nothing to do with spring games, but more on that later. We have an update on Carson Beck's cars being stolen. We have a Florida Gators new offensive coordinator. And then I've got some thoughts on Star Wars and on Steve Smith Sr.
Oh,
and yeah.
Wow.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that stuff?
The text messages? Was it just text messages? Okay, there's no video that surfaced. Okay.
No video, but yeah, wow. I mean, in case you missed it, somebody caught Steve Smith Sr. Fucking his wife and decided to go full nuclear with it, right? Saying, I'm already a broken man. So in an effort to ruin Steve Smith's life and make it very public what he was doing behind his own wife's back, I'm going to put my own pride on the line. Because this man put it out there. He put out screenshots of texts between his wife and Steve Smith where she says to Steve Smith, "You were so deep, I thought you were going to rearrange my IUD," which again, oh boy. I mean, you are really, I mean, again, you're broken at that point. And so, yeah, you got, I mean, whatever. You're already broken.
I love kinky, weird. I've done a bunch of shit in my day. I never really got the in-depth sexting. I just don't get it. I did the back and forth exchange just seems. I
thought you were going to say you never got anybody telling you were so deep that you were going to rearrange their IUD.
No, I am not. I'm not.
Neither did I.
No,
sorry, but that's fine.
Was not happening. I don't get the sexting. That's something I never really got into. It seems almost comical to me.
It's just it's being super horny. I guess so. I don't know.
Why would she text that? Like, why the fuck would you text anything?
I mean, she also texted in that she loves it when he comes inside of her. And the guy put that out publicly.
Oh.
I mean, it's bad.
It's
bad all the way around. This guy's wife. I don't know. She was a member of some Ravens band or something or another. I don't know. But man, whew. Scorched earth. Again, I mean, I get it in that he feels like his life is ruined, so he wants to ruin Steve Smith's life. But yeah, man, like what? Because people in your personal life know who you are. So
if
you're
I was him, I would do
really,
this. I'm sorry, I'll be salty. I would probably do the same thing.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. Why
You're really
not?
putting yourself on blast amongst everybody that you know. Like the internet at large to know who it is. It's done through an anonymous account, but they know who the wife is.
Oh yeah.
Meaning, like everybody in his life now knows that Steve Smith was rearranging his wife's IUD as he was still.
Well, I'm moving away. I'm starting a new fucking life.
Right.
Like, I'm starting fresh. I'm moving. I'm doing it. I'm burning everyone down with me, and then I'm moving to another country maybe.
I think I'm with Zach. You got to try blackmail first. You at least got to try blackmail first. Threaten Steve to tell Steve Smith's wife before you go full public, which maybe he did. Maybe he did. We don't know. Also, to start off the show today, I'll start off like I did my radio show. Rest in peace to Hooters. Hooters declaring bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad, Aaron. You know what it is?
Mm-hmm.
It's a sign of our country's decaying ethics and morals.
Masculinity?
No.
Maybe a little bit.
I think it's more just a devolution into degeneracy. As you know, back in the day, going to Hooters was a big deal. That might be something that would stick with you for a while as a child. You know, you might be thinking about that cleavage you saw for the rest of your life. Now, what does that compare to a simple Instagram feed?
True.
Much less anything you search on Twitter.
True.
In the age of OnlyFans, what is Hooters? We've lost our way. We've lost our way. It used to be a man could get by with a fried chicken wing, some cleavage, and maybe a little bit of butt cheek under some pantyhose. I mean, that used to be everything.
Same thing with the SI swimsuit magazine. That's all you needed. Hooters and the SI swimsuit. And now I can't say last time I've seen either.
Mother's Victoria's Secret catalog that used to come in the mail. Hiding that under the bed.
What?
Now, nothing. That ain't shit.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that was doing that. The Victoria's Secret.
Victoria's Secret catalog was goated. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I used to hide it in between. I used to hide it in between the trash can and the trash bag in my bathroom trash can. Oh, nice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so you pull out the liner, put it down in there, and then cover it back up. Pretty heady play right there.
Good for you. Smart man.
Even though I remember at 10 years old, my friend's mom caught me in the bathroom with it one time and then made me pose with a picture holding it up with everybody around me.
I thought you were going to get a little bit weirder. I was like, oh.
No, she literally accused me of spanking the monkey, which I had never heard at the time. So a great little old school. Oh, yeah. Denise is,
you don't want to ask her to join?
But no, I was 10 years old. I did not fuck my friend's mom here. What are you, sick? See, this is why Hooters went out of business. Because of this shit right here. You son of a bitch. Zach says Twin Peaks Hooters couldn't adapt to better food. I like Hooters food better.
I like Twin Peaks food significantly better. I always thought Hooters wings were way overrated. Did not enjoy Hooters wings.
So here's the deal. Here's the deal. They're not. Well, they're not like, yes, if you're a wing snob, no. But what they are is fried chicken doused in buffalo sauce. They're not really wings. They're breaded like fried chicken. So fuck yeah. If you're telling me, do I want like Popeyes doused in buffalo? Absolutely I do. I love Hooters breaded wings, dude.
Not good. Way down the list for me. Way down the list. And although I would at least invite her. You know, I would at least have made the effort.
What are we talking about? Oh, the mom. What's the funniest thing that you used to try to get your hands on as a young man to look at when you were engaging in such a?
It was
because I know what
the worst was when my dad caught me watching. What was it?
Wild with.
No. It was why am I drawing a blank? Not Van Wilder. It was
Girl Gone Wild commercials.
No, it wasn't even like it was a movie. What is the movie where he fucks the pie? Why am I drawing? American Pie. American Pie.
Yeah, I mean everybody got caught watching.
He literally walked in at the lesbian scene. Of all scenes to walk in, he walked in there, and I'm like sprinting over to hit eject off the VCR. And
you needed to have classic mistake. You needed to have an input change ready to go.
No.
It's like if you were watching Wild on E back in the day, you'd have the jump back channel ready to go, like jump back to Nickelodeon. Yeah. If you heard somebody coming down the stairs or down the hall. I think my mom's Shape magazine was the funniest thing, but it was before I understood where vaginas were located on the body. And so I assumed they were located kind of at the front of the pelvis, like in the same way that a penis would be. And so I just always thought in these Shape magazines, if you pulled down those bathing suit bottoms, like right there,
right there,
just staring at you in the face.
How would they be?
Well, I don't know, dude. I don't know, man. I don't know. You don't remember, like in junior high, that was one of the first things that like one of the high schoolers taking me under his wing told me. He was like, "Hey, the vagina, it's farther down than you think." I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah, I'm telling you, it's farther down than you think. Like,
I don't know if I ever had that conversation.
You never had that?
No.
You just figured it out? Were you surprised?
No.
Did you just keep searching? You're like, where is this thing?
Hello, where are you?
Anyway, sorry guys. Maybe I should have saved this for you. Let's get into some college football. It's probably really bad for the algorithm to start every show like this. I apologize. Hit the like button, support the show if
off season.
If you want to. All right. Who will be the next head coach to win a national championship? As don't look now, but Ryan Day has not only joined the ranks, but interestingly enough, Aaron, Kirby and Dabo only have 2 natties. Now, I say only, right? They're the only other guys with natties. It's still an incredible accomplishment. But the point is, before we talk about the next guys, if Ryan Day wins again next year, which is a very real possibility, he's tied with them. Like all of a sudden, for all the shit talking on Ryan Day, he could literally be maybe the best coach in the entire country in a year and a half stretch where going into the playoffs, he was a dead man walking.
Well, because he has a resume heading into it. I think that's the one thing you have to realize. Like Ryan Day's resume is really impressive. He wins all of his games besides against Michigan. He wins the majority of his games. The record's impeccable. He makes the playoffs. He's won multiple Big Ten championships, I believe, correct? Or at least won it like
early on. No, early on.
But the resume is pretty damn good. And then now you throw in the playoff run, you throw in a championship, and if you throw in another championship, you kind of sit back and look at it and say, like, where besides the terrible record against your biggest rival, it looks pretty damn sexy. It does. It looks incredible. So yeah, it is still Kirby 1. I think Ryan Day now is 2. But if Ryan Day wins another national championship, it's a real conversation of who is the best coach in college football.
He's got 2 Big Ten championships from 19 and 20. So, okay, so those are the guys who currently have them. And outside of that, it's nobody. And no, Belichick's 6 Super Bowls do not count. I agree, Bo. So then who are the top contenders, right? Who is next in line? And Aaron, I mean, look, we kind of know the main characters here, right? There's like Lanning, Sark, obviously Marcus Freeman should be in that mix. Certainly James Franklin, Kalen DeBoer's played for him before. And then, would you throw anybody into that? Because let's do this. Let's do top contenders, then maybe like the more kind of wild card guys that could maybe break through.
I would say those are definitely the top contenders. I wouldn't put James Franklin necessarily in the top contenders.
Okay.
We had this discussion a week or 2 ago about your guy there in Baton Rouge. I still think what Brian Kelly inherited 4 years ago was a shit show. 36 scholarship players.
Objectively true.
Made the SEC championship game back-to-back years. I know last year was a disappointment. I know that the Daniel season was disappointing because those guys are NFL Rookie of the Year. Incredible receivers on the outside, and the defense was just so damn bad. But with Baker now heading into his second season, with Garrett Nussmeier, with the recruiting that we can know that we know can be accomplished there in Louisiana, I still think this was not a normal start to a tenure at a university. 36 players were on the roster when he took over. So I'm still a believer in Brian Kelly. Maybe he's not a top 5 coach in my mind compared to what I thought he was 2-3 years ago, but I still think you can win championships at LSU. They've done it multiple times with coaches I feel are inferior to him. The talent's there. The DC is now there. Yeah. Second year with Baker. I think LSU's closer than what we think they are.
So I would say this. I would not take Franklin out of that top group. It sounds like you're taking Franklin out and putting Kelly in the top group.
I think Kelly should be ahead of Franklin.
So okay, so I'm
flipping one for another than
I'm with you to throw Kelly in that top group. This is, though, his last chance, in my opinion, because you've had 3 top 10 recruiting classes in a row. You just had the number 1 transfer portal class. You have the returning quarterback. You got a defense. Like, if you can't really compete for a championship this year, then you never will. Okay, so then let's say that top grouping is Sark, Lanning, Freeman, Franklin, DeBoer, and Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think is who has the best chance of being the next to win the Natty?
I think Heupel. I would put Heupel 1.
You put in Heupel T1 as well.
No. I'm saying you asked me who's next best.
No. Sorry. I mean, out of that grouping, out of your top tier contenders, who is like the number 1 contender?
Oh, who is that one contender? It's Sark. It's Sark.
Yeah, I agree. That's actually.
I don't think you'd be idiotic not to think that Texas in today's era, what they have from a resource standpoint, what he's already accomplished, what he's been able to build, consistency, the recruiting, the transfer portal, all of that. I would
back-to-back playoff appearances. That was a big thing.
Playoff appearances.
So first off, Sark had never proven to win at a huge level, so he finally does that. And now he does it 2 years in a row. So he's shown you the consistency. And I have no reason to believe that he won't do it a third year in a row. So, yeah, like I agree with you. Sark seems number 1. All the well-oiled machine you just talked about. Probably going to have Arch Manning a couple of seasons here. Have a great quarterback. Like,
it comes down to talent. Like, which of these rosters is the most talented too? And Texas, I would say Texas, Oregon, probably the 2 most talented. I think that there's questions at Alabama from quarterback standpoint still that, you know,
I get questions this year. Like, that's why I would have Dan Lanning next on my list. Like, I almost feel like I would say with Dan Lanning for a national championship, it's a matter of if, not when. But no, excuse me. It's a matter of when, not if.
I would agree with, I would think for the top 2 guys, it is a question of when, not if.
No, I don't know.
Sark, I think, is definitely right there to win one. I think Dan Lanning is going to win one at some point. I don't know about Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame still. I'll be honest. I think that's the one to me where I think Marcus Freeman is an incredible coach. Hell, they just made it to national championship. So he's done something that neither of those other 2 coaches have done, leading their team to 1 win away from being a national champion. I'll be honest. It's still hard for me to think that Notre Dame can win a national championship. It's less about Freeman. It's more about the brand.
Yeah, I mean, well, hold on, because I want to get to Freeman in a second. So I got Sark 1. I got Lanning again. I believe he'll definitely get one eventually. I mean, look at what Dan Lanning's done in his time at Oregon. 3 years, and he went from 10-3, 12-2 to 13-1, including undefeated regular season Big Ten champions first year in the Big Ten. So again, and look, in the offseason, the defense is still going to be incredible, right? They bring in Adam Thineman, even though he doesn't probably deserve to be mentioned. They do bring in like a Bear Jones. They got Uiagalelei still. Like, they're going to be great. Yep. My question for this year with Oregon, though, and why I'm putting Texas ahead is simply quarterback. I mean, you went from having Bo Nix and Dylan Gabriel to very experienced quarterbacks. Now, granted, we didn't know how good Bo Nix was fully at the time, right? But he was still very experienced. You go from that to Dante Moore, and now he has to uphold the mantle of what? Back-to-back Heisman candidate quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
A guy who, when we saw him at UCLA, clearly was in over his head. Now, I do credit him for being like, you know what? I need time. Let me step back. Let me go learn. Then it's going to be my time. I love that from a character standpoint for Moore, but I don't know where my expectation with him should be. So I don't think Oregon gets it this year because I have questions at quarterback. That's why I can't put him ahead of Sark, even though objectively he looks like he's kind of rocketing towards the championship faster than Sark did.
But this is where I struggle with all these coaches and all these teams is and call me biased because I played the position, but I still believe you have to have a quarterback to win a championship. Of all the contenders, who does have the best quarterback? In my mind, it's Brian Kelly and LSU. And I voiced my opinions and thoughts about Arch Manning a week ago. I don't know how good he's going to be, especially in a first year as a starting quarterback. I saw another thing today about, he's won over the locker room. He's such more of a vocal leader than Quinn Ewers. And okay, I want to see it for 12 games. He could be amazing, but I saw good stuff from him last year. I saw some young mistakes. I saw Quinn Ewers not play really well, and yet Sark refused to put him in there. If he is such this generational quarterback, why were you so reluctant to play him? So, I'm not going to put all my chips in on Arch Manning just yet. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he is a superstar, and Texas goes and wins a championship, and we're celebrating Steve Sarkisian. But if I'm looking at all these contenders, and I'm saying next year's the year where I'm going to say,
you're answering Brian Kelly then on who's going to be the next to win a natty. Or well, I guess not necessarily. You're saying next year out of this group.
I'm saying if Ohio State and Georgia fall off the face of the earth and don't win a championship next year, I think it would be LSU and Brian Kelly. Especially because of the quarterback. I don't know about Alabama's spot right now and what they have. I don't know about Notre Dame. I voiced my thoughts about Notre Dame. You just obviously brought up the question marks with Oregon. And I think Texas is going to have an incredible roster once again. But guess what? Texas had the best roster or the second best roster in college football this season. Why did they not win? Because Quinn Ewers couldn't get it done. And you wouldn't bench him for the guy that you think is now going to get it done this year.
What about James Franklin and Penn State? Is it just the record against top 10, top 20 teams? Because a lot of people would say just on a pure roster basis that you could make the argument that Penn State should actually be the winner of this conversation.
I think they should be up there too with Drew. I know Drew played bad during the playoff stretch, but I still think Drew's a very talented quarterback. He's gotten better and better and better. And now he's going to be in the same offensive system for a second straight season. Let's not forget that. And they just got one of the best not the best defensive coordinator in America to go there. So I think they check off a lot of boxes that give me a little bit more confidence.
Yeah, I mean, the Jim Knowles pickup's bigger than I originally realized after reading up on Jim Knowles' story and resume. The guy's a genius who just happens to be obsessed with football. Yeah, so they're almost two separate conversations. Next year, it's probably Penn State and LSU that you could argue have the best chances out of this group. Long term, though, I would score it Texas, then landing in Oregon, then Franklin and Penn State. Or do you put DeBoer there long term? Like, do you still believe in DeBoer long term, or is his stock down after looking human?
So Alabama? For going, someone in the chat said, Andrew, LSU schedule's too hard. BK can't fix the defense. They went from 28 points per game 2 years ago to 24 points per game last year.
The defense should be way better this year. They're not as huge.
And that was with what, like two defensive tackles heading into the season?
Yeah.
Like, they're still building depth on that side of the football. I trust Baker to get it right.
They have it this year. They have actual competitive this year. They have to take advantage and do well.
100%.
So if you're saying long term, I'm saying Sark landing. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, because I still think favorites probably going to be Ohio State and Georgia to win.
Yeah, next year.
Yeah, I think long term, especially because
Where do you go after Sark landing, though? Because that's where it gets interesting.
Sark landing, I would still go Brian Kelly or Kalen DeBoer.
So you're putting Kelly and DeBoer both above Franklin and Marcus Freeman. Yes. Are you putting Franklin and Marcus Freeman? Who gets ahead?
Marcus. I think he's a better coach. He just went head to head with what I would. He just went head to head with what I would perceive as a not as talented team at the moment because of injuries, and he won.
True. All right. So then now coaches that we didn't mention, the kind of what ESPN tabs as the wild cards. Now they have Kelly in the wild card, but they've got Josh Heupel, they've got Lane Kiffin, Sharon Moore, Kenny Dillingham, Mario Cristobal. Out of that grouping, Heupel in Tennessee seems like the biggest threat. Although Michigan's pretty resurgent right now, and Bryce Underwood could be that guy. Ole Miss just feels a bit like Notre Dame, except even more so that it just got like a little too much working against it.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
just so much to overcome to think about being the Ole Miss Rebels and taking home an actual full national championship, especially when last year's team seemed so complete, and yet you still end up being really disappointed by years in at 9-3.
I like Sharon Moore. I like Heupel. My one concern about Heupel is the offense is always fun, but is it good enough to win a championship? When push comes to shove, when they face really good defenses, that offense struggles. A la Georgia. Every time they face Georgia, there's a major hurdle to get by.
This is just where they need like a true transcendent quarterback, though. Like anybody who wants to win a national championship, right?
And I think Nico heading into year 2 and if Nico heading into year 3 has an opportunity to do that. They've built really good defense on that side of the football. Like Tennessee's built a complete team where they can be ultra competitive defensively. Obviously, they can be ultra competitive offensively. Last year, Nico was a roller coaster. The receivers were average. I still think that they have an opportunity because I believe I've seen enough good from Nico. Like, why are we so enamored? And I hate that I'm so negative against him.
You hate Arch.
I don't hate Arch, but we've seen so little of Arch, yet we're willing to crown him. Where I know I saw a lot of bad from Nico, but I saw a lot of great from Nico too. And he's heading into his second full season as a starter. Yet we're crowning Arch as better with seeing minimal games against lesser competition for him starting.
I mean, obviously with Arch,
I don't hate Arch.
Here's the main things. He did play very well when he played for Texas last year. And I am not trying to be too reductive here, but definitely the name brings an undue amount of expectation. I mean, this is the God family. This is
100%.
This is Prince Rhaegar. This is like literal.
I love the Mannings. I wish him all the success in the world, but I need to see it before.
But I'm saying, that's why the hype is more.
100%.
And again, he played very well. And so, but here's my biggest hang up with the Arch Texas stuff is, while Sarkisian's an offensive genius, the Texas quarterbacks have not put up crazy numbers.
No.
Which granted, I mean, I don't need my quarterback to have crazy numbers. Like somebody's like, Garrett Nussmeier's going to go over 5,000 yards. I said, if Garrett Nussmeier does that, then LSU's in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have more balance than that. But it's not like Texas quarterback under Sark have not put up like overwhelming Heisman-esque numbers. They've been very solid, but not great. So maybe even in that sense, like, Arch is being overhyped for something that's not even his fault. Just because we're like, oh, it's Steve Sarkisian, and look what he did with Mac Jones, and Bryce Young, and no, they're gonna do that. So we'll see. Aaron hates the Mannings, guys. I know. Sad.
I love the Mannings.
Hi, guys.
Hates
the Mannings. Hates Arch.
Love the Mannings. Love Arch.
Sharon Moore, again, don't really know about. Kenny Dillingham, again, it's Arizona State. Like, will Kenny Dillingham win a national championship one day in college football? No. Well, maybe not. I'm not talking about Arizona State necessarily. I'm saying, will Kenny Dillingham?
He's not leaving Arizona State.
Bro. If he's there long enough, he will think about leaving. Especially as we broke down on the show, every year his school is getting $50 million less than the schools they're being asked to compete.
It's school, though. It's his alma mater.
Yeah, he'll be there for a while. He's 34, bro. You should almost bet on Kenny Dillingham to take home a natty just because he's like 10.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? He could end up in the NFL potentially forever. Blake Bryan says Texas numbers are average because Quinn is very average. But to Aaron's point, then what does it say about Arch?
Yeah. If you knew your team was that good to win a championship, which they were that talented, and if you knew the quarterback was holding you back, why would you not make the change? You don't know when you're going to have another chance to win a championship. That Texas roster this past year was one of the top 2 or 3 rosters in America.
Yeah. Mari Cristobal? I'm sorry. I'm still firmly on Krista fraud status. Like, I don't know if Carson Beck, not even kind of Carson Beck's fault, but as we broke down, Miami losing 4 of their top 5 receivers. Carson Beck coming off a UCL, and now he's supposed to live up to what Cam Ward just did. Best offense in the country. I don't think so. I don't. So no, I'm not in on the crystal ball ever getting it done train.
No. I do think there's buy-in at Miami, which if you can hit it right with the right year when it comes to buy-in, you could make it happen.
The other thing about this is, what's crazy is that like names like Lincoln Riley, Mike Norvell, I mentioned Luke Fickell, the names like this aren't even really in the mix anymore.
What's your feelings on, we talk about resources and hitting it right and just kind of having that year where you find the right donor that wants to give you $20 million.
Are you talking Steve Smith again?
I'm talking Steve Smith, just rearranging the insides. Yeah. That's what we're talking about getting right. Like fully rearranging all of it. Some in the chat brought it up, but Elko.
No, look, guys. No. We cannot. I'm sorry, because I praised Elko all last offseason. What a great culture change it was. Toughness, time off of this and that and this. I cannot sit here and be a huge Mike Elko believer after he did the exact same thing that we've seen every other Texas A&M coach do. Ton of talent, ton of preseason hype, really hot start, completely fizzled down the stretch all the way to an 8-4 record. I mean, it's actually insane. At this point, it's like the curse is on A&M, and can they have a coach capable of breaking said curse? Maybe that still is Elko. I still like the hire. I still like the direction of the program. But if you're asking me about winning a natty and stuff, that conversation is so far away. No, okay. I cannot follow you there. Okay. Is there any coach do you think that's a threat that did not get mentioned here?
I am. No, hell no. God, no. Shut up. That's enough of that bullshit. I
can't believe. Look,
no.
I can't believe you.
No.
Who did Signetti lose to last year?
I don't give a shit. Exactly, but he lost to teams that he's supposed to lose to, which means he's never.
Okay, all these other jokers we've been talking about lost to way worse teams than that.
But at least
Marcus Freeman lost to fucking Northern Illinois.
They will never have the talent. At least these other teams have the talent.
Oh my God.
No.
Fuck
unless
you.
Signetti leaves Indiana
as my number one wild card.
All right, my number one wild card is Billy Napier because of DJ Lagway. I think DJ Lagway is going to be the best quarterback in the SEC over the next 2 seasons.
So I will say this, and the Gators get a new OC here. Topic change. Russ Callaway promoted to OC. Not that big of a deal as he was tight end coach and co-coordinator last year. Napier's still going to call plays, though, which is why this is not the biggest deal. But I did just want to mention that because it's a newsy piece. Russ Callaway now the Florida offensive coordinator. But to Aaron's point, Florida's returning 15 starters in 2025, so a ton of returning production on both sides of the ball. And DJ Lagway was 6-1 as a starter last season. Yeah. And the one loss was a Georgia game where if he does not leave the game, who fucking knows if they actually lose that game? They might have upset Georgia. And so, yeah, the Florida Gators, you want to talk about maybe the main playoff dark horse out of the SEC last year. Florida could absolutely be that answer.
I'm with you on that one. I mean, they were tight game against Georgia. The Texas game they kept. They were on their third-string quarterback who was a walk-on playing in that game. Like that was never going to happen.
Again, 6-1 when Lagway started. That's all that matters. 6-1.
LSU, Ole Miss, obviously Florida State, and then Tulane in the bowl victory. I love the kid.
Good teams. Those are good teams that they're beating.
Really good teams on the stretch. I think he is all the intangibles from arm talent, athleticism, size. He's got it between the ears. He's an exciting quarterback and hits that explosive big plays down the field that really opened up Billy Napier's offense from what it was before that. So Florida's got a new facility. They got some more buy-in. Let's go.
They've got a little bit of flash in the pan disease where we could be making too much out of a relatively hot sample size.
And you can say something about Michigan then and Sharon.
Well, except that 2 years ago we saw them win the Natty. I feel you. I feel you. No, I get what you're saying. I agree. You are right. But it could be that. But again, the reason why I'm bullish on Florida is because I'm with you, and you've been on this. I think it is Lagway. Lagway is different. That is a Billy Napier. If he ends up surviving at Florida, there will be no more important day of his career than when he convinced DJ Lagway to still sign with the Gators when that class was completely falling apart in the what was that 2023 signing day? Yeah, in the 2023 signing day.
It's the same thing about, I mean, the feeling of South Carolina, and then all of a sudden you get Lenoris to have the season Lenoris had.
Again, I tried to tell you about it.
And that's TBob said it for last summer. Then you see LSU, you see USC, South Carolina have the year they have and be a fringe playoff team because of the quarterback. And the defense was great too. The defense was elite, and it's going to be unfortunate they're losing all those guys. But I believe DJ's even better than Lenoris.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I
would agree with that.
Time and experience. Like Lenoris needed half the season to kind of get going. You know, beginning of the season, South Carolina was horrendous on offense. I was their first game of the season. And then seeing the midway of the season, then towards the end, all of a sudden they became a balanced football team. Where now you don't have a completely seasoned quarterback, but you have a guy that's played a lot of big-time football in the SEC heading into his second season after playing 7 games. So I would be excited if I'm a Florida fan. Schedule still sucks.
Good on Florida. You know who I'm not very high on right now, Aaron? I'm extremely down on Matt Rule.
I am too.
And the Huskers. And it's not the spring game thing. We talked about spring games. I think canceling spring games in the age of the transfer portal actually makes all the sense in the world. And it's not, a lot of people point to injury concerns. Not a lot of people get hurt in the spring game. That's more practice likely. So I don't think it's really an injury concern thing. I think it is firmly just trying to protect your roster from poaching, which I completely understand. I don't give a shit that Matt Rule doesn't want to play spring games because I happen to agree. In case you missed it, Nebraska canceled a home and home with Tennessee that has been in the works since 2006. Unbelievable. It was supposed to take place in 2026 and 2027. Now, Nebraska AD Troy Dannen says, oh, well, look, we're renovating the stadium. It's going to temporarily lower seating capacity. And so we're going to replace that away game in 27 with an additional home game. And hopefully that's going to make up for the lost revenue, which is about as bullshit and flimsy as an excuse as I can imagine. That maybe gives you the slightest bit of plausible, like, oh, no, this is real. But you know what kind of fights against that? They're saying, oh, it's about the money we're losing. They're paying $1 million fucking to get out of the deal. They're just giving Tennessee $1 million to not play them. That is not representative of the culture that Matt Rule has espoused and claimed to want to create at Nebraska. It's fucking pathetic. It's fucking weak. It's fucking running away. And the dumbest part is, to me, it's set for 26 and 27, which, as we know, in all likelihood, out of conference games will not hurt your playoff chances, because you're just competing over those bids. So it's not even like he can claim that, oh, we don't want to do that because we thought it would hurt our playoff chances. No, it's fucking bullshit. Nebraska wants to be hard-nosed. They want to be tough. They want to be, we'll play you anywhere. Anybody will then fucking play the game. Don't pay $1 million to get out of it.
Well, this is a great example of playing that type of mentality and mindset. I mean, remember last year? Was it last year when they played Colorado, the year before, whenever it was, where it was such the mindset of, we're the tougher, stronger football team, and we're going to dominate the lines of scrimmage. We're going to show you how to play football. And I feel like that can kind of translate to going against Tennessee because of the way they play offense. And like, hey, old school football still wins. Hard-nosed football here in the Big Ten, and Nebraska still is going to be able to dominate against a team like Tennessee that wants to spread you out and go up tempo and throw these rinky-dink passes and all that. It's like, to me, this is a good example of building the brand, showcasing while your style of football is, one, still relevant in today's game, and two, is better. Like, that's your opportunity to showcase that, because you are fighting players, high school kids that grow up playing in this style of offense that Tennessee plays in, that want to translate, that just want to jump from their offense in high school to, oh, I know it. Oh, they put up crazy stats. Let me just go to Tennessee, and you can debunk that at Nebraska. Part of the reason why I went to Georgia over Florida was because I wanted to, at the time, play in a quote-unquote pro-style offense. Yeah. To be under center, to play action pass. I didn't want to play in a fully RPO zone read offense.
Yeah.
And you have an opportunity on a national stage to showcase why your system is better than this new age system, and you're afraid to do it.
It's a very good take. I would have never considered that angle. It also upsets me because from a just pure fan standpoint, this is a great matchup. Two old school powers that lost their way for basically a majority of the early 2000s here, but now in the NIL era have the ability to be resurgent. Obviously Tennessee more so than Nebraska, but both teams seem to be moving in the right direction. They're massive brands. It would have been a really cool Big Ten SEC battle, kind of like a tasty little preview of what we talked about, a potential scheduling alliance. Mm-hmm. And it's been worked on for 20 years, guys. This series was agreed to in 2006. And it was supposed to be played in 16-17, but in 2013, they were like, you know what, guys, we both suck still. Let's delay it for a decade. So they did. And now, after 2 decades of waiting, you cancel it the year before and pay $1 million not to play. Soft. Absolutely soft. Hate it. And I will be severely tempering my Nebraska Cornhusker support because of it.
No more Corn Hub.
Not right now. No. The only way I'm getting back on board is if they're good this year. Then I'm all the way back. But until then, no more Corn Hub. Aaron, did you see the latest in the Carson Beck story?
I did not.
Andrew Cooper says it was smart by Nebraska because that back-to-back L was just going to lose Matt Rule his job. Thanks, Indiana and TBob. I mean, maybe so. Yeah, no, it could be. But anyway, so Carson Beck, the latest Miami-Dade police officers have arrested Taekwon DeAndre Anderson. But here's the funniest part of the story, Aaron, that I had an old strength coach, Tommy Moffitt, legend, right? And he used to say, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And let's do a little PSA here, guys. If you are going to rob something, make sure you have a fence lined up. Make sure you have a plan in place for what to do with said stolen goods. Because clearly Taekwon and the boys did not, as apparently him and his friends, they rent a car. So like everything up to the stealing of the plan works perfectly. They rent a car, they hop what is described as a concrete fence, which again tells you the fucking luxury these college kids are living in nowadays, right? A concrete fence to a driveway in Miami, which you know has got to be expensive. Anyway, so they hop the concrete fence. They get access to the Range Rover. They find a garage clicker in the Range Rover. They pop open the garage. They go inside the home. They find the keys. So then now they have the keys and they've got all 3 vehicles. They've got the Range Rover, the Lambo, and the Mercedes. Why in the fuck then did the cops find the Range Rover and Mercedes abandoned later that day? You could say, oh, GPS, you should have had a plan for that. You know, you're stealing a modern supercar. Of course it's going to have GPS. Of course, you need somebody ready to break it down. You can't just fucking steal the Range Rover Mercedes, add to your charges, and then just leave them on the side of the road. What are we doing?
Why would you leave them on the side of the road?
Because they just didn't know what to fucking do with them. That's what I'm saying. They stole them and we're like, oh, fuck. Now what? Which again, like, thank you. There is something funny there, right? Like, I'm not crazy. There's like a huge disconnect in that plan where.
So how did he get caught?
I don't know. I'm sure his accomplices. Well, that's just the only name I saw in the article. But like
so they stole the cars while they were sleeping. I'm guessing. They were in the house.
Yeah, they were in the house.
That's kind of scary.
No, it is like scary. It's like people always, when cars get stolen, people kind of hand wave it and like insurance. Well, I think not only is it like a huge like hassle, but like also if you hear from car theft victims, it's the psychological impact that they cite of like not feeling safe and like how weird it feels to know. I mean, these guys were in the home while they were asleep, grabbed the keys.
If you have a garage, go put the damn cars in the garage. If you had a damn garage door opener.
I know. I mean, if it's anything like my garage, it's probably not because they're college kids, but I was going to say it's probably just filled with shit. And what is supposed to be a 2-car garage turns into a 1-car garage because you've got fucking crazy carts and bikes and trikes and scooters and lawnmower and just a whole bunch of shit.
Damn, I would be freaked. I would be cleaning the shit out of my garage the next day and saying these cars are going in there.
I mean, again, I think they probably live in a really nice property. It's got a concrete wall, like Chad is saying. Like, they probably assumed that was enough. You just don't expect, I mean, frankly, to be clear, I mean, do you ever leave your car unlocked outside?
My car goes in the garage. No.
Okay.
Yeah, our cars are in the garage.
Sometimes I do. Granted, one day my car, I woke up and it was definitely broken into, but jokes on them, because I was having a really dirty car week, and it was just like a bunch of bullshit just moved around. They didn't get shit.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. All you did was rearrange.
With my old truck, I used to leave the keys in because I had that little pad.
Yeah.
So if someone like got in, they go, "Oh, the keys here. Thanks. Bye."
The
old truck. No more.
Tanya Basham, I forgot to lock my car once. Some high schoolers stole a bunch of gift cards, but left a taser and a pair of Ray-Bans. Jokes on them. All those gift cards were expired. Hell yeah. Locke says my car was broken into and they didn't even take the CDs because no one uses them anymore. Made me laugh and feel old. I had my window smashed in New Orleans one time, my car robbed, and it was so annoying. So I was going on a weekend trip right from this show I was doing, and all they stole were like all my favorite clothes at the time, which weren't even anything expensive. I was fresh out of college. It was just like all the stuff I felt confident wearing. I had no money, no nothing else in the car. That's all that got stolen. And then I had to drive like 3.5 hours with a broken fucking window, which was really lame.
Jokes on them now because you got a possible deal with snaps coming up soon.
That's right. Jokes on them because be fucking talking Dodger baseball with Jim Rome, you fucking nerds. Yeah. Jokes on them because I now have not one but 2 Toyota Sienna minivans.
Yee.
Jokes on them because after that vehicle they robbed from, they missed a chance to rob a 3-year lease that I had on a Toyota Camry. Fucking losers.
Idiots. Just peak too soon. Peak too soon. What do you got for Star Wars? What do you got?
Somebody was asking the correct way to show your kids Star Wars. And I'm a firm believer. I did not make this up, even though I do it slightly different. There's the machete order. Or if you're a Robert Rodriguez fan, you could say the machete order. Now, a true machete order wants to cut out one of the movies entirely. I do not like that. Here's how I would say, if you're, and I'm talking Skywalker Saga, we can do a different show where we bring in the extra movies and TV shows and all that and do like a full watch order. But if I'm showing my kids Star Wars for the first time, the order is episode 4. So the original one, 1978, New Hope. Okay. We're going New Hope 4 into Empire, number 5. At the end of Empire, we get the big reveal. Then we're jumping back to the prequels. So 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Then we go back to 6. And here's why. So through 4 or 5, you get the original experience of what Star Wars is supposed to feel like when you see those first 2 movies, right? Like those were not made with prequels in mind. So you get that original trilogy feeling. But then right after you get the big reveal, I am your father. Oh my God, what? Then you get the story. Then you jump and you get the story of Vader from the time he's a kid to when he's grown. So then when we go back to Jedi with 6, because remember 6 opens with a different Luke. He's got the all black on. He's got his new lightsaber. He just feels older, more mature, like somebody who's been training. Well, we spent so long with the prequels, we're learning this story that by the time we get back to Luke, it feels like time has passed. And we know the whole story now. And so everything has added depth. And now we get this more mature Jedi Luke ready to finish the fight. Okay. So yes, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6. This is the best way to do it. And then you just go 7, 8, 9. Although when you get to 9, you'll realize that nothing mattered because they just fucking brought Palpatine back for no fucking reason. Fucking so stupid. God, I hate episode 9. Fucking Palpatine. By the way, Kathleen Kennedy out as the head of Lucasfilm, which a lot of people are going to see. Here's a problem. I have a lot of problems with what Kathleen Kennedy did. No bigger than not sticking with her plan after Last Jedi and going back to J.J. Abrams and whatnot. But I think Kathleen Kennedy also did a lot of good. I mean, Mando's awesome. Skeleton Crew was awesome. Andor's awesome. It was not all misses. Rogue One's awesome. But there were a lot of misses. Here's my problem, is that I personally am kind of excited for Kennedy to be out, but I want to be painfully clear that I am not with you, the crowd that hates her because Disney went woke or Star Wars went woke. Like, that's not why shows suck. They suck because the writing's bad, or they suck because they're not executed well, or the visuals are awful. Like, they don't suck because they went woke. So no, I was not the biggest Kathleen Kennedy fan, but I do not want to be pigeonholed or grouped in with a group of people who offer the laziest analysis and criticism that you can possibly fathom. And that's not why. No.
I feel like I need to go back and rewatch. If I do that, I'm gonna do your order 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6.
Very fun to do with the kids.
Okay.
Very fun to do with the kids.
Okay.
This is interesting. Sylvain says if you do it says the interesting thing about the viewing order is in the original plot twist, Vader is Luke's father. But if you watch sequentially, meaning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the plot twist is Anakin turning to the dark side. Oh, that's interesting. I've never considered that because, like, I can't imagine what it's like watching the prequels, not knowing that Anakin goes bad. That is actually kind of interesting to think about. I still want to do it. But that is intriguing to think about.
Okay.
She also stuck her hands in Mando. That's why season 3 was so different than season 1 and 2. That was for a number of reasons. I mean, again, yes, no, I agree. Like, okay, the worst thing Disney ever did right behind episode 9, in my opinion, is having 2 episodes, or it doesn't even matter, is making the decision to put Mando and Grogu back together after you had this incredible season 2 finale, the most emotional Star Wars moment I've ever seen, where Grogu and Mando have this moment that Grogu goes away with Luke. Mm-hmm. And then randomly in the Boba Fett episode show, there's 2 episodes that show, actually, we're going to put Grogu and Luke back together, or Grogu and Mando. And we're really doing that just because we need to sell toys and everything else. So yeah, my problems with Kathleen Kennedy have nothing to do with politics. Everything to do with some of the decisions that I disagree with, in terms of where Star Wars has went. So you asked.
You got to. I did.
4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6.
All right.
And then finally, Kirby Smart was speaking at the Nike Coach of the Year clinic, and he was asked some questions. Or I guess he was asking questions, and here's what he had to say.
What do these guys have in common?
By the way, the guys that he's talking about here, it's a picture of Bryce Young, Joe Burrow, Johnny Manziel, and Cam Newton.
Speak up. Heisman. It's a good answer. That's actually true.
It's funny. I don't know if Kirby had put together the Heisman thing. It seems like.
No.
Oh, that's you're right, actually. Heisman. Yeah, you're right about that.
First thing I think about, quarterbacks, Heisman.
They're definitely quarterbacks. That's the most elementary thing. Heisman, quarterbacks, champions. He ain't champion of what? Champion of fireball.
Talking about Johnny Manziel.
All right. I'm gonna go here for you. There's Heisman, right? They all had great days versus our defenses. Okay, they both, all 4 of them went off on us in some way, shape, or form. Okay, but the Heisman. What are these guys?
I do kind of want to hear the rest of it. That's the end of the clip. Everybody's just, poking at the
Johnny
champion of fireball line, which is great. But I wonder what point he was going to make with them having great days against them.
That they're all 3 of them were first picks in the NFL draft, and all 4 of them were Heisman Trophy winners. Quarterbacks are the most important position. You got the dude back there; he's going to have success.
I would say this though: a lot of people are going to make fun of Manziel for this, but what's underappreciated is how little of a fuck Manziel gave and still dominated, right? It's easy to be autistic like Joe Burrow and study film 24/7. Mm-hmm. It's not easy. I'm being tongue in cheek. What I mean though is all these other guys are locked the fuck in, fully dedicated to the craft. Manziel was out here not giving a fuck and still balling out.
Just playing football. For that. Just going out nights before, getting drunk,
dude.
and then just playing football.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Legend. Shout out Johnny Manziel.
Probably the least prepared of all four, but still probably the most.
I don't think
exciting of all four.
probably about it. He literally did. They check his iPad and he had like 0 hours of film to watch in the NFL.
That was with Cleveland. Yeah.
I mean, that's insane. That's actually insane.
Well, it didn't work out too well.
That Georgia fans are rightful in their criticisms about the starts to these football games, particularly the first halves.
Yeah. What is Brooks talking about here? This is him talking about Mike Bobo. Oh, never mind. My internet crapped out. Oh, well.
We'll do that on Thursday.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll bring Brooks on.
Oh man, his tweets are. Where do you fall in the Mike Bobo debate?
You know how I feel about Mike.
That's your boy.
Thursday. Let's do it Thursday.
Oh, what are you trying to get out of the show? What's going on?
I have a UFL meeting with
spring football.
That's why I'm all dressed up. Yeah, spring football. I get ready for the meeting.
All right. Y'all have a great day, guys. Again, hit the like button, share the show if you want to help out the show, help the show grow here in the off season. Try to get to 30K over the off season, guys. Rate it, review it if you listen on pod.